Steal my seat? Deal with my toddler. Took the family, husband, kids, 1.5-year-old human wrecking ball to the aquarium to see the open ocean feeding. We got there 30 minutes early to snag good seats. Mission accomplished, husband and kids seated. I ran 2 of the kids to the bathroom. When I came back about 20 minutes before showtime, some random 10-12-year-old kid had wedged himself right next to my husband. As my husband stood up to pass me the toddler, the kid scooted down the bench, leaving one tight spot. Awkward, but whatever, I sat down. My husband stood behind us kids on the floor next to me. Hugh, my toddler, immediately starting to climb on the railing like a caffeinated monkey. I eventually gave him my seat so he could sit and hang on the rail, and sat down on the floor next to my other kids. And then the kid tried it again. As soon as I got up, he slid further down the bench like he was going for a gold medal in seat stealing. At that point, I made a decision. Enjoy sitting next to my fully charged toddler. The show starts, and my son proceeds to get up, sit down, hang on the railing, rinse and repeat about 4,782 times. The kid is visibly annoyed. I am spiritually thriving. Bonus, there was no one behind us, so my toddler's antics weren't bothering anyone but him. When my son hopped off the seat for a second, the kid tried to scoot in again, and I hit him with a, "Excuse me, yes, sitting there." He moved. When he tried it again, I said, "You already scooted us off the bench. My son is sitting there." Mom voice activated. No parents in sight the entire time. Just me, my chaos goblin, and one very annoyed seat thief. Was it petty? Absolutely. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. You want to make me do your work for you? Well, now you can't take your break. I have a co-worker who is incredibly lazy. She's never been a hard worker, but within the last year, it's gotten bad. She could technically retire, but chooses not to, for whatever reason. Which, I wouldn't mind if you actually did your job, but not only will she never help the office, she doesn't even get her own damn work done. As you can probably tell, this woman annoys the hell out of me for a multitude of reasons. We have a system in our office where all customer questions go into the same queue. If it's an email, a voicemail, part of an online chat conversation with an employee in another department, it goes into this queue. For whatever reason, anytime my co-worker encounters a question that will take more than about 10 seconds to answer, she assigns it to me. Which, yes, I'm very knowledgeable about our department. However, this woman has worked here 3 times as long as I have and should know these things herself. Today, she assigns me a question, and as soon as I read it, I have no idea why she assigned it to me, because she should have assigned it to my boss and or talked to my boss about it. As mentioned, I assign it to my boss and then go and tell her about it. During the beginning of our conversation, I overhear said co-worker on the phone, ordering food for lunch. Usually she hangs up the phone, waits about 5 minutes, and then heads over to pick up the food. Well, I'm still in my boss's office talking about this question. I should probably mention, my manager loves to talk, and while I'm usually trying to slowly back out of her office to end a conversation, this time I take a seat and proceed to actively engage. So the minutes are ticking by, and my co-worker can't take her break because someone always needs to be obvious, and obviously I'm unavailable. At one point, I kind of tilt the chair so I can see her out of the corner of my eye, and I can tell she's just itching to run out of here, but she can't leave. What should have been, at most, a 5-minute conversation turns into a 20-minute conversation. Then, I added a little more revenge because as soon as I left my manager's office, I ran out of our office to use the restroom, just to delay her break even further. I can't tell you how satisfied I feel right now. From 5 stars to jail bars. I threw my sister in jail. Technically she's my half-sister. But moving forward, I had been trying to get a restraining orders against my mother, her husband, and my half-sister. With everything I had, it should have been a done deal. But the judge saw otherwise and denied it. Before we left the courtroom, my lawyer asked to put a statement on the record, which was that I had all the power, and if they showed up on your property, I have the right to have them arrested. I told him I understood and then looked directly at them and said, "If you show up on my property, I will not ask you to leave or tell you to leave. I'll just call the police. You will be arrested and I will press full charges for trespassing." A little on my sister. She is spoiled. My parents put all their money and efforts on her and it's now biting them in the ass. Read prior posts on my family to get a better understanding. But the long story. We come from money. She was the chosen one. She got everything. I built my own life. I'm getting ready to move and have been packing, and she showed up yesterday. I did exactly as I told them I would. I didn't ask or tell. I just called 911 and explained the situation. The police showed up, asked her what was going on. She said I was her brother and that she wanted to talk. I told the police and her that she had no business being here and to arrest her, and I was pressing full charges. And they did just that. I feel nothing. The level of hatred I have for her is dangerous. She has treated me like less than any kind of a living human being my entire life. She thrives on this. I feel like I was perfectly justified in doing this. They knew what would happen if any of them showed up. So far. Landlord went back on his word and I got petty off by using the bad knees bandit. Me and my flatmate are moving out in less than a week now. It was a private rental, up until our landlord heard we were moving out and he switched over to a property manager. On Saturday, this weekend past, we got a call from our new property manager PM who introduced himself and told us that the landlord had said he wouldn't trouble us with any showings of the house before we moved out. We were so relieved, as we only had a short amount of time to get the house packed since I'm disabled and my flatmate works full-time and is only home on weekends, hence moving. So all good, we carry on packing boxes, and then lo and behold, the phone rings on Sunday. Guess who's on the other end? The bloody new PM saying, "Oh yes, so we're actually doing the showing tomorrow at noon." Fuck you. Fuck you both. In the arse. With a cactus. The house is in complete disarray with shit everywhere. Boxes, rubbish bags, furniture, obligatory cat toys, our 2657 houseplants, cleaning products, yada yada. We are exhausted, but have to stay up extra late to make sure the house is in acceptable shape. I mean, we have never trashed the place and we've been extremely tidy tenants, but we're moving and it's chaos. Right. Enough of the setup. To the good bit. Monday rolls around. My legs are absolutely fucked after yesterday, so it's 100% a wheelchair day. The PM rings the doorbell somewhat aggressively, great start, and I yank it open to see a smidgen of hair hanging on for dear life beneath a melon-sized head. Perhaps it is because of my low point of view, or maybe he really did have a sizable melon attached to his neck. He looked uncomfortably at the chair, and I think it was in that moment that he realized I wouldn't be stepping out of the house during the viewing. Oh no. I was gonna be there the whole time the family was looking around. He tried to make casual conversation but didn't last more than a minute of extremely uncomfortable avoidant eye contact before he excused himself to view the house for the first time ever and then went and hovered by the front door until the family arrived. I wheeled into the living room and parked myself there with a drink on the side table and observed. The PM welcomed the family as they entered the home and they were all smiles, but that stopped the second they saw me. It was a huge excuse me what the fuck moment that you could see all over their faces, but they had to be polite. I just said, "Hey, I pretend I'm not here, just part of the furniture, haha." There was some awkward laughs and they all hurried past me and did their best not to make eye contact. Everyone knows if you make eye contact with someone in a wheelchair that you'll get disabled disease. Better watch out, I. Every time they walked past, I just smiled at them and they avoided me like I had the bubonic plague. Maybe I did. It'll be an unsolved mystery. The family was asking all kinds of questions, which Melonhead didn't know any of the answers to, so eventually he came to me for help. I rolled out of the living room and the daughter reeled back like I was going to run her over. Silly girl, I only do that on Tuesdays. I gave them all the information they needed, maybe more than they needed, and finally, they all agreed to get the fuck out of my house. Lock the door behind them the moment it shut. Bye forever. P.S. Fuck, sorry, I'm so wordy. If you read all that you get, I made it all the way through the Bad Knees Bandits Reddit purse trophy. He that I'm in NZ, we only get 24 HRS notices, success. My flatmate was the one who took the call and caved to the pressure the PM was putting on. I now have the Melon's mobile number, so he's gonna have to get through the skull of solid boundaries before he tries that again. I'm going to bed, I will reply in the morning, moi. Don't give my wife the sink eye, by user Redimus Prime. This is my wife's petty revenge. Yesterday she was at a Shell station parked at a pump about to get out of her SUV to get gas. Her door was about halfway open when some Karen whipped into the parking lot and nearly took her door off. She then glared at my wife with what she described as a stink eye like it was her fault. The Karen then pulls up to the pump, opens her gas cap, puts the nozzle in her tank, and fills up. Then she runs inside for a minute to pay or maybe pick up some snacks, who knows. It is obvious to my wife that this Karen is in a crazy hurry. The Karen then comes back out to her car and hops into the driver's seat, forgetting that she left the gas pump nozzle in her vehicle. My wife is a super polite person and usually goes out of her way to help people. If you drop $20 on the ground, she would be the first person to pick it up, tap you on the shoulder, and hand it back to you. So, in this situation, she would normally flag down the driver and let them know that the gas pump nozzle was still attached to their car, but not today. On this occasion, pettiness got the best of her. I think you know where this is going. The Karen stepped on the accelerator with the pump nozzle still in her car. Screecha! She did some serious damage to her vehicle and possibly the gas pump. Then my wife smiled as she got into her SUV and drove off, first double-checking to make sure the gas pump nozzle was not still attached.